Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for Sunday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, doing the October 18th, 2020, hosting the October 18th, 2020 show. Moving on to hazardous weather graphic, have advisories out, snow advisories, or actually winter weather advisories, and it's for snow there for the central interior and the Alaska Range on up, but not into the Fairbanks area. And those go into effect actually for the Tanana area there. That's in effect currently until 6 p.m. Tuesday. So the next couple of days, expecting kind of a continuous or intermittent light snow pattern there, which could result in the shaded areas there anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow during that time frame, again until 6 p.m. Tuesday. And along the Alaska Range and actually toward the Nana to Haisley could pick up possibly as much as 8 inches of snow over the next couple of days. And in the Fairbanks area, looking for a 2-day period there where you'll see an accumulation of 1 to 3 inches, and that doesn't quite make the advisory level. So it's not like the greater Fairbanks area won't see any snow. It'll just be only 1 to 3 inches across that time frame. And otherwise, no other watches, warnings, or advisories out for the North Slope, Arctic Coast, interior areas as well, or out west. And actually, high pressure really strengthening over the next 24 hours out over the Bering Sea, and that'll be shifting in over the interior. So really, when the snow advisories end on Tuesday, that'll probably be it if they actually do extend it out for that long. But right now, that looks like a pretty good time frame. So kind of a continuous light snow pattern up there along the Alaska Range into the Tanana Valley Central Interior. And on the satellite, you can see the band of clouds that brought the areas of snow across Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet overnight last night and this morning, shifting northward, ending from south to north as shifting from east to west there. Not particularly strong, but the light snow area up into the central interior. And weak high pressure kind of building there to the west of that, a little bit of clearing occurring, but still a lot of low clouds in the lower Yukon Valley area into the Kuskokwim Valley. But there was some sun breaks, Bristol Bay and Alaska Peninsula, then a band of semi-convective moisture there from St. Lawrence Island along the southwest coast for shower activity in the form of rain. And some of those may have reached the Pribilof Islands, but amounts are quite light. And again, no big storm activity, just actually building high pressure there over the central Aleutians and over the Bering Sea with just some kind of disorganized clouds farther to the west there towards Shemya. And they're drifting eastward there with the upper level wind flow, as the upper level ridge hasn't really buckled the jet stream or the wind flow aloft at all yet. And otherwise, some moisture sliding into the southeast coast, resulted in kind of a variably to mostly cloudy sky condition with some scattered or isolated showers around. Same thing for the North Gulf Coast, but nothing significant at all. And Kodiak Island, dry, maybe some clearing, especially that pattern also along the Alaska Peninsula, and should be clearing out there over the eastern Aleutians as that narrow band of showers pushes eastward and you get into the drier air that's currently over Adak and Atka. And then out there towards Shemya, they're under that area of clouds with maybe a few isolated showers. But again, no big storms at all anywhere for the next couple of days. On the chart here, you can sort of see the hints of high pressure building over the central Aleutians, southern Bering Sea there. The high center actually just to the south, and it's ridging northward across the east or west central Bering Sea on up into the Russian Far East. And we have a low near St. Lawrence Island and the trough that produce some areas of light rain and clouds, showers there along the southwest coast. And then the band of moisture there with the light snow and snow showers up into the central interior. It's going to kind of hang up there for the next couple of days and tapering off over Cook Inlet with a little bit of clearing farther to the south. Otherwise, the low east of Kodiak Island had a few lingering showers, but basically dry there. Those have pretty much ended. And weak troughs affecting the southeast coast, one actually mostly affecting the southern areas with a little bit of light precipitation and some lingering showers lingering along the north coast of the Panhandle. Otherwise, basically dry over the inside waters. And some clearing there over the northeast interior, eastern north slope, Brooks Range, dry conditions for the north slope, light winds as well. And for the forecast for tonight, getting that low kind of drifting eastward there into western Norton Sound, and a trough, mixed rain and mixed precipitation. Could be just snow, a better chance of it being all snow than being all rain, even though I got the mix in there. And that's the portion extending across the Seward Peninsula up to the northwest coast. And then the little bit more significant area of precipitation over the central interior where the advisories are out for snow. There are so periods of light snow or snow showers from the Copper River Basin right north-northwestward, again across central interior, all the way up towards Atchison and maybe Point Barrow. I think it'll be east of Wainwright, and the eastern north slope, light winds, variable clouds, no precipitation. And showers a little more numerous over the Panhandle now with the trough coming in from the west again, and then that slow-moving eastward bound low, 1,012 millibar low that's actually east of Stewart by 3 a.m. And Kodiak Island, west-northwest flow, that's usually a dry pattern for you, but trough kind of squeezing some moisture out of the atmosphere there. But still, it'll be more miss than hit in the showers, except for, say, AKwx and Sitkinak, maybe over toward Old Harbor. May see a few showers, but nothing significant, and a mixture of shower conditions there for the southwest coast. And dry for the Pribilofs, and now that high up to 1,032 millibars, and real light winds now with that, no gradient at all over the central eastern Aleutians, and the tighter gradient on the north side of that ridge or northwest side, and a trough will keep the moisture up to the north, put it into the Russian Far East, and light snow continues over the central interior. That'll linger into tomorrow. You can see, again, light snow with the snow advisories, again, 1 to 3 inches for Fairbanks, and 3 to 6 for the other areas there, especially in the central interior up toward the Alaska Range. And maybe an inch of snow possible for the Copper River Basin. Otherwise, partly sunny, Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula. And lingering snow showers possible for the Matanuska Valley early on, but improving throughout the day. Chance of showers mostly over the northern Panhandle from Yakutat to Elfin Cove down toward possibly Sitka. And otherwise, isolated showers, mostly cloudy for the central and southern southeast coast for Monday. And again, the high on Monday will shift eastward Monday night, and Tuesday we've got a huge area of a rather pretty strong zone of high pressure. One center there just north of Eagle, 1,036 millibars. The other center over the southwest interior, just under 1,040 millibars. So that's going to keep the storminess south of the eastern Aleutians there, and west over the western Bering Sea, that will be directed northward. And otherwise, a couple of troughs dropping south there bring some light rain and showers into the southern Panhandle, ending from north to south. And then you can see the snow area really starting to diminish over the Alaska Range with a lot of clearing and light winds, maybe a little breezy outflow winds, but nothing strong as of yet there for the North Gulf Coast and south central Alaska. For tonight, lows 5 to 15 northeast interior, otherwise in the 20s to upper 30s there along the southwest coast. Mid-20s to upper 30s or mid to upper 30s for the Panhandle, and 35 to 40 for the Alaska Peninsula, near 40 for the Pribilofs. Highs for tomorrow, upper teens for the eastern Boulevard Sea coast, warmer on the west side with readings from 30 to 35 for the western Arctic coast, mid-20s on the central coast, mid-20s in the Brooks Range or just to the south, actually the upper Yukon Valley looking at highs barely reaching 20 degrees, mid to upper 20s in the Tanana Valley. Mid to upper 30s as you head southwest to mid 40s along the southwest coast into Bristol Bay, mid to upper 40s Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island, and near 50 over the southern Panhandle, near 40 for Skagway. And the lows the following morning down into the mid-teens, maybe even colder for the Copper River Basin, northward to Arctic Village would be 5, and milder though out along the central Arctic coast, lower to mid-20s there. And 25 to 30 over the inland areas in the west, lower 30s out toward the coastline, upper 30s to near 40 for the Bering Sea, and upper 20s to upper 30s for the Panhandle. Followed by highs on Tuesday afternoon, lower 40s southern Alaska, 20s to near 30 on the Arctic coast, and still under 20 for the Eastern Brooks Range and in the 40s there for the Panhandle.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Flying weather Monday morning. Good swath of VFR in central Bering Sea, St. Matthew Island, and actually from Gamble down across the Pribilofs and extending from Kiska eastward up the Alaska Peninsula to roughly Port Heidens, more or less there. And then marginal VFR into the southwest coast with IFR inland there, northeast Bristol Bay, right on up along the Alaska Range, across all of the Kuskokwim Valley, on up into the areas, say, Healy and back toward Tanana. And then you got VFR, Yukon Flats, actually the Eastern Brooks Range, right on down across the upper Tanana Valley, 40-mile country, Northway Tok, Southern Copper River Basin, Yakutat VFR, Panhandle VFR. And then for the afternoon, we got now VFR from the Selawik Valley, across the Kobuk, northern Koyukuk Valley, and the Yukon Flats. Marginal VFR, central interior, all the way over along the Alaska Range toward the border, and looks like IFR over the east central interior there, roughly Nenana, actually Healy, Nenana to Fairbanks, up to the White Mountains, and also some IFR, the lower Yukon River Valley zone, eastern delta, across Norton Sound, Seward Peninsula, on up to Point Hope, Cape Lisburne, and then expands over the North Slope and Arctic coast. VFR, East Central Bering Sea, Central Aleutians to Falls Pass, and in toward King Cove, not quite to Cold Bay, and more IFR with another disturbance, staying north of the western Aleutians. And marginal for the Panhandle, that marginal VFR for the southeast coast continues into Tuesday morning, expands westward to Yakutat and actually to Cape Yakataga. VFR, Prince William Sound, Kenai Peninsula, south central Alaska, marginal for the Wrangels, all of the Alaska Range, and a big zone of IFR seeing over northeast Bristol Bay, western Iliamna Lake, and across the Kuskokwim Valley, up across eastern Norton Sound and the Lotto Hills there in the lower Yukon River area. And then marginal VFR, north of there, western Brooks Range, and then all of the North Slope and the Arctic coast with the IFR zone, Point Hope, Cape Lisburne to about Kivalina, on down toward the Seward Peninsula. Tuesday afternoon, IFR northern Bering Sea through the Bering Strait, northwest coast, in over the western mountains there, DeLong and western Brooks Range, some of that down into the Kobuk Valley there, east of east of Selawik, and then VFR south of there with some marginal VFR lingering over the Kuskokwim Valley to the Alaska Range, on up to Healy, maybe Nenana, and otherwise VFR farther north. VFR southern Alaska, marginal VFR southern Panhandle, VFR to the north, and IFR increasing once again over the western Aleutians. Anatuvik, IFR tomorrow mostly, and for Adigan, IFR mostly also, meaning maybe marginal at other times. And Lake Clark and Merrill starting out IFR, turning better as the day wears on, becoming marginal. And that same trend for Rainy, lowest conditions in the morning, becoming marginal VFR. And occasional marginal VFR for Windy Pass. Actually, I'd say mostly marginal tomorrow. And for Isabel, same forecast, marginal VFR. And Mentasta, marginal VFR turns to VFR, so some improvement in the afternoon there. Tanita, IFR. To start, VFR probably by noontime through the remainder of the afternoon. And Portage, same trend, IFR early and then VFR. Chilkoot and White starting out VFR and then becoming marginal. Freezing levels, warmer air, but way out there to the west and only 2,000 to 4,000 feet there, otherwise 2,000 feet, meandering north and south of the Aleutians on up into Bristol Bay, across Fognak Island, North Gulf Coast, Gulf of Alaska, south of the North Gulf Coast, and then southeastward across the Panhandle. And from there, taking a look at icing, nothing too heavy, possible areas of considerable moderate icing of the rime or mixed in the shaded areas there, the Panhandle, while other areas of the southeast coast won't see any. So it's kind of a broken up zone coming in, a little more solid there out to the west, but that's very isolated, moderate, if any at all. And then some mixed icing possible, southeast interior on up in toward Tanana Valley, and a little bit to the northwest, and even less of a threat out there along the west coast. There was some lingering moisture. Taking a look at the jet stream, still south of the area, 60 to 75 knots. That's not actually the jet core, the main course farther to the south, but that cutting across the southern Bering Sea, eastern Aleutians. And then you can see the 125 to 155 knot jet out of the west cutting in over the Queen Charlotte's and most of Alaska on the cold side. And 9,000 feet, again, strongest wind south of the area there, and kind of a mixture of highs and lows over the inland areas. Turbulence, light ice on the Monochop, Kodiak Island.
On March 11, 2011, a powerful tsunami hit Japan, destroying cities and villages. As the water receded back into the ocean, it pulled what remained of buildings, cars, boats, and homes along with it. Scrap metals, plastics, and objects of all shapes and sizes either sank near the shore or floated away. In the days that followed, large masses of floating debris could easily be seen by satellite imagery and aerial photos. In the wake of this disaster, NOAA is assessing the potential impact that the debris may have on U.S. shores. So, where will this debris go, and when will it get there? To help answer those questions, scientists are using computer models to estimate the debris' path, using its starting location in the tsunami zone and historical weather and ocean conditions. The findings are that some debris could pass near or wash ashore in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands as early as this winter. Debris may also approach the west coast of the United States in 2013 and potentially circle back to the main Hawaiian Islands in 2014. But scientists caution that there are limitations to what computer models can tell us, now that the debris has moved out of satellite view, and with currents and winds in the Pacific constantly changing, there is no guarantee that the debris will stay on the predicted path. Items will sink along the way, or break up and disperse in many directions. Despite these unknowns, NOAA and its partners are collecting data, assessing possible impacts, and making preparations in case debris does wash ashore. The 2011 tsunami in Japan reminds us that the devastation that happens on land can also become a marine debris issue at sea.
Imagine all of this underwater. In a major tsunami, it could happen. In this part of Washington state, it's happened before, hundreds of years ago. Sometime in the future, it will likely happen again. But we can be ready. If a tsunami strikes, this school will provide a place for people to ride it out above the waves.
We're in Westport, Washington, and right behind me is the very first tsunami vertical evacuation center in the United States.
This is an emergency. Please walk to the nearest exit. Go to the stair tower and proceed up the stairs.
Tsunamis are a potential hazard for low-lying coastal areas. That's why many coastal communities have plans in place to get people to safety, high ground or inland, where they can be beyond the reach of a tsunami. Often there are signs showing where to go and where to gather. Most tsunamis are caused by underwater earthquakes along subduction zones, where two of Earth's plates collide and one is forced under the other. Westport and other Pacific Northwest coastal communities are especially at risk because one of these zones lies just offshore. It's called the Cascadia Subduction Zone. An earthquake here caused a tsunami in 1700 that flooded shores as far away as Japan. Experts say it's just a matter of time before it happens again. Since the subduction zone is so close, a tsunami like the one in 1700 could strike before people in some low-lying areas could get to high ground or inland. And Westport doesn't have a lot of high ground or easy routes inland.
If we get an earthquake or a tsunami, we're going to get a lot of water in the area really quickly, and we needed a place to go. So our community built this brand new school, and above our gym and cafeteria, we have a roof, and so the idea is that we'll get all of our students up, and anybody from the community who needs to get up, they can get up there as well.
Ocosta Elementary School might seem like a normal school, but look more closely. It's engineered to withstand monster waves. Tsunami vertical evacuation shelters must be able to resist the powerful forces that a tsunami brings. Hydrodynamic, buoyant, hydrostatic, and debris impact forces and strong currents. They're also designed to help people get to safety quickly.
There are 4 big staircases on each corner of the building, and each one of those staircases is 8 feet wide, and we can get the whole school evacuated in about 4.5 minutes.
Everybody should be at a 0.
On the roof of the building, there is water and food and buckets and shelters and tarps and blankets and different things so that we can be up there for 2, 3, maybe 4 days while we wait for rescue.
You can go to the top and you know you'll be safe. It feels really nice to have a special building because you feel protected.
This community decided that a tsunami evacuation center was important because they didn't have anywhere to go, and they decided to use their money to build the building. The additional cost is anywhere between 10 and 20% of the actual building cost itself, and that's really a sound investment for a lot of protection. You may be there a while, but you're safe and you're secure, and that's the most important thing.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at today's sea ice analysis, quite an increase there. As you can see from what we had yesterday, you can see the ice all the way down on the central coast to the east side. So quite increase, pretty dramatic actually from the chart I had yesterday. And heavier ice there from Mackenzie Bay eastward along the Barrier Islands, and then linking up all the way to the Arctic there on the eastern Beaufort Sea coast of the Central Coast, and also an increase there over the Beaufort Sea. And for the coastal water forecast, west winds 20 knots there along the Panhandle, and variable 10 knots over the inside waters from Dixon Entrance and Clarence Strait all the way up to Lynn Canal, although mainly southerly there, but still light with seas at 2 feet, maybe 3 feet in the case of Stevens Passage. And for Tuesday, light north breeze there for northern Lynn Canal, or for all of Lynn Canal, and the inside waters really light and variable winds, 5 knots, and variable to south at 10 knots for the southern inside waters, and a little bit more of a breeze there along the south coast areas with winds 20 knots and 8-foot seas, make for small craft advisories. Northwest 15 on the north coast, and those fall back to north at 10 up toward Yakutat and eastern North Gulf Coast. Otherwise, for tomorrow, we've got small craft advisories for all of the North Gulf Coast with 7-foot seas for those northwest winds sustained at 25 knots. And small craft advisories also out for the Barren Islands, Kamishak Bay, west-northwesterlies at 25 to 30 knots, 9 to 11-foot seas there. Northwest 15, Prince William Sound. Northern Cook Inlet, we've got northwest winds at 10 knots, seas 2 feet, 15 knots out of the northwest for Southern Cook Inlet, and seas at 3 feet. Tuesday outlook. Cook Inlet, north 15, seas 4 feet. Gales, though, for Kamishak Bay, northwesterly sustained at 35 knots and seas up to 13 feet. And we'll go for 30 knots there for the Barren Islands out of the northwest. North winds 25 for small craft advisories, western North Gulf Coast. Prince William Sound, eastern North Gulf Coast, north winds 20 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet. Kodiak Island, west winds 30 knots, seas 8 feet. And for Bristol Bay, west winds 25 knots, seas 6 feet, and west winds 20 knots for the Alaska Peninsula, seas at 7 feet. Tuesday's outlook, swinging around to the northeast there for the Alaska Peninsula with small craft advisories on the Pacific side there of the peninsula at 25 knots, 20 knots topside, and Bristol Bay north at 15. Small craft advisories from Castle Cape to Sitkinak, up the east side of Kodiak Island for northwest winds 25 knots. Tad stronger, Shelikof Strait, sustained 30 knots. Unalaska Island, northwest 15 to 20 knots. Unmac Island, east-southeast at 10 and southeast 10, really laying down there with that building high pressure out over the, especially the central Aleutian areas. And then on the back side, a little bit more of a gradient, should bring a little bit more of a breeze there to Chimiana 2 from the south at 20 knots. A little bit stronger on Tuesday as the high pulls up to the northeast over the interior, so small craft advisories for east winds, all of the Aleutians except west of Kiska Island to Shemya be southeast at 30. Southwest coast tomorrow, south of Nunivak Island, 25 knot winds out of the west, northwest 20. Yukon Delta coast, St. Lawrence Island, west 20, St. Matthew Island, only west at 15 for the Pribilos, but those 8-foot seas keep small craft advisories in. And for Tuesday, southeast 20 for the Pribilofs, seas 4 feet, south 25, St. Matthew Island, northerlies 10 to 15 for the southwest coast, southwest 20 for St. Lawrence Island. Up along the eastern Boulevard Sea coast, winds will be east, light though, at 10 knots, and seas at 2 feet, ice covered there on the east side. South at 10 for the central coast, seas 2 feet, southwest 15, Point Lacey down to Cape Thompson to Wales, northwest at 10. And the outlook for Tuesday, from Wales to Cape Beaufort, south winds 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet, and then small craft advisories for the western Arctic coast there, 25 knots out of the southwest. Southwest 20 for the central coast and west at 15 along the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. For tonight, again, snow showers will be pretty continuous, and winter weather advisory there for the west of Tanana or west of Fairbanks in the central interior, including Tanana, and then along the Alaska range, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow by Tuesday afternoon. Could be heavier, maybe toward the Nanana area, maybe 6 inches of snow. Anyway, clearing either side of that band, showers in the Panhandle, and for tomorrow, continues with snow over the interior, partly sunny south central Alaska. Building high pressure over the Bering Sea shifts inland, dries it out, pretty kind of chilly on the temperatures, and showers over the central and southern southeast coast, and the storminess stays either south or west of the Bering Sea through Tuesday night.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.